how the hell's it going? This is Jerry back with another TwoSun Tuesday. This guy is the TS62, another one that doesn't quite have a name. It's one of the earlier NightMorning designs. You know, obviously, nice slender shape, interesting kind of handle shape in general. This one they say is camo, and it's kind of interesting the way that they've ended up doing it. It's basically Jade G10, and kind of that top layer has a camo pattern to it, and then of course they've milled deep into the G10, so you have kind of a camo, but it's still mostly green jade. Yeah, it's interesting. Really subdued finger tab there, and it does have, you know, 3 little jumps, which is plenty to actually get this guy to sling out there. This is a NightMorning design, and you can see it's a little bit newer if I actually get this in the shot, because it has his insignia rather than just NightMorning design emblazoned there. This is a D2 blade, and yeah, it's a, you know, obviously very flat and neutral handle. Works great for, you know, my extra large hands, and there's just a little bit sticking out there extra, so you can either get super comfortable, or, you know, I could put on some more wintry kind of gloves and still have a nice good purchase on this thing. Something that's kind of interesting with it, does have a swedge that starts very up top here, but you can probably see it's got kind of an odd extra grind going on there. So it does thin out a little bit more at the tip. Well, the tip itself here is relatively still nice and broad, but coming down into that belly, it actually thins out quite a bit. So it does a pretty darn good job at slicing. I just sharpened this guy up, so he's got a heck of a scary edge on him. I suppose I could show that if you... Not that it really particularly matters. They come sharp out of the box, but I do like generally to sharpen almost all of my knives kind of on the same thing, so I kind of have a baseline and I understand exactly what angle it's set to. For D2, I usually do a 17-degree edge on him. But yeah, he's got a nice, you know, deep carry pocket clip. It's still got the button head screws. It's just kind of an industry standard. Whether or not I particularly prefer it or like it, oh well. And we have a G10 backspacer that also kind of doubles as a lanyard loop kind of thing. It's a little snug in there, and like the CJRB feldspar, that's the one I'm looking for. Feldspar that I just took a look at, you don't actually have any steel reinforcing on the lanyard loop, which is it doesn't really matter to me because I don't use lanyards at all. But for the people who do, and are expecting really heavy-duty use out of it, it might be kind of a little point of concern there. But yeah, pocket clip's nice. Nice neutral handle. I do really like this blade shape. It's got, you know, a nice stabby tip, but really slicey and thin behind the edge blade there. Something that I don't particularly like is they made it completely flat, and they've just done a little tiny bit of milling on both sides of the liner to help you disengage that. And for me, it's actually rather difficult. I have to make a conscious effort rather than, you know, with almost any other liner lock kind of thing, where I really do have to watch what I'm doing because I can't quite feel if I've moved that liner over or not. I mean, if they had like a little bit of jimping up there or something like that, probably would have helped me out a little bit. But, oh well. I will take this guy apart because I kind of do that in most of my videos. So here we go. First off, I'll go ahead and pull the pocket clip off. This isn't able to be reversed, so it's right side only. Sorry, lefties. I don't know if you would blame TwoSun or NightMorning Design for that. There we go. There's one spacer there in the back, and then the pivot screw right here. This guy should just start coming off. Okay. So you can see it's got an internal blade pen. I mean, well, obviously it's internal, but I mean, it's actually connected to the blade rather than pinned into the liner. Those are the words. Sorry. But yeah, there you go. You got your ceramic bearings and your detent ramp, which that's a really nice feature. I do like quite a bit that TwoSun does, and I haven't really seen a whole lot of other companies do, unfortunately. But it's a really nice touch that probably doesn't take a whole lot of extra effort. I mean, obviously it does take a little bit more machining time to be able to hit that up real quick. But yeah, it's got a little bit of skeletonization there on the show side. And then, I mean, technically, yes, that's a skeletonization, but pretty superficial in the amount that it's actually going to weight relieve or anything. But they made the effort, you know, that's always nice. When I first pulled this apart, I was looking at this and went like, oh, neat. Like, if they got rid of that, then you could have a bottle opener on the back. That might actually be kind of neat. I might actually think about kind of pulling a little bit of this lanyard stuff, lanyard loop stuff off of the G10 backspacer and see if I couldn't actually access that for a bottle opener. That would make it a multi-tool compared to which a lot of people say. I don't necessarily agree that having a bottle opener on it immediately makes it a multi-tool. I think it's a knife that you can open bottles with. So. Alrighty, well, I'll go ahead and toss this guy back together now. And kind of give you my final thoughts there. It does have a D-shaped end of the pivot there, but not. Yeah, it does technically. I guess. There we go. There's where the camera is, where you can see it does have a little bit of a key there. It's a little bit of a groove. Yeah, you can see it a little bit easier on this side than you can over here, because it doesn't actually come all the way through. It's fine. It does its job. Doesn't break. So I'm all happy with that. So alrighty, let's go ahead and pop this duder back together. A lot of times when I am putting knives back together, I do generally start on the presentation side, because that's generally the side where the pivot screw isn't. It just makes things kind of useful for me. And a lot of times if I do that and I have a D-shaped pivot, I'll actually kick it out 90 degrees. So when I do come in with the other liner, I can line it up out there and swivel it into place, rather than hoping that I've already put this D-shaped pivot in place and it's working correctly before I do any of that. So that's the method to my madness here. Let's go ahead and toss that guy back on. It's got a little steel pin on the inside there. This guy's got plenty of KPL lube on him already, because I've just kind of done a little bit of maintenance on him earlier today, and gave him a sharpening along with quite a few others. Yeah, I'm still intrigued on whether or not I can turn that into a bottle opener. I think that'd be pretty sweet. a blade for now, because that will just make my life easier. And yeah, I still have a little bit of a Loctite on there from when I just had this open earlier, so I'll just go ahead and leave that in place. Otherwise, I do like to use me some blue Loctite, so it helps, you know, pivots and everything, not free spin. That's not the words I'm trying to think of. It's quite late, by the way, in case I'm sounding like a little bit of a crazy person, which, I mean, I absolutely am, but generally don't mean to be. It's just kind of how that works out. Alrighty, so I think I could probably loosen that pivot tension just a little bit. Yeah, that's much better. Sweet, so these all nice and back together. Overall, I do like this thing quite a bit. It's super slender in the pocket. I'm certainly all for that. I can rattle off some stats since I did measure him a little bit earlier. So he's got about a 3.8 inch blade, which, you know, that's pretty long for your standard pocket knives. Handle thickness, basically at the crest of the ridges, if you will. It's like 0.7 or 0.575 of an inch. So yeah, it's about average, right around there. It was like 4.14 ounces, or like 117.5 grams. So yeah, not super heavy. And blade stock thickness is about 3.85 millimeters. So it's pretty average as well as that goes. But yeah, it does a pretty good job of keeping tip strength up while actually keeping the blade edge itself relatively thin. I do like it quite a bit. It's probably not my favorite of NightMorning's designs, but then again, he also has dozens. So it's really hard to just go ahead and go, yeah, that's my favorite. But I do like it quite a bit. I just wish that the liner lock was a little easier to engage with. But that's the only downside I can really think of with this guy. That, and, you know, maybe if you're looking for a little bit more desert style camo, this probably won't be exactly the camo pattern for you. But I do believe it does come in other G10 shades, probably black. But yeah, there you go. There is the TS62. Doesn't have a name either. A lot of TwoSuns kind of don't, and or their designers do have names for them, but it's never either disseminated to TwoSun or they don't associate it with them. So I don't know. I could probably look up on Instagram and see if he's got a particular name for this guy. But Slicey Stabby seems to be like a pretty good name for it, so we'll go with that. Alrighty. Yeah, I'll get at you here. So yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, yo.